slowing decline. DirectEdge handles about 10% of matched stock trades and made its mark through high-frequency trading. First on CNBC interview, William O'Brien, DirectEdge CEO, who also happens to be a fellow alum of Penn Law, but that just means I'm going to be even harder on him than I would be ordinarily.
I would expect nothing less.
Good morning. Good to see you.
You too.
Could you, very briefly and unarcanely, explain what high-speed trading is?
Well, high-speed trading is just how technology, which has revolutionized the life of every American in pretty much every industry, has transformed the stock market. Generally, it's made it better, from how exchanges can be more efficient to how the average investor can execute a trade from anywhere on a planet in a second or less over their iPhone. But it also introduces some new kinds of risks into the system that, if not properly addressed ahead of time, can result in situations like we had yesterday.
Well, what happened yesterday? I mean, in your opinion?
Yesterday is a day that I don't think, no matter how admirably any one platform or company or person performed, no one should be proud of what happened yesterday. I think it really was a confluence of factors, in many ways a perfect storm. There was already a pre-existing level of fear in the marketplace. I think your reporters from Europe evidenced that yesterday. Everyone's a little skittish when there's riots on the screen as you're trading. And then there was, I think, a lack of coordination between potentially the futures market, which is very interdependent with the actual stock market, and then no real coordination among exchanges while this was happening. And investors in that climate can't really determine what's real and what's not when prices were declining sharply.
You sound surprised that there's no coordination. Like, whoa, it all happened and there was no coordination, clearly. Well, another coordinated industry.
We are in some ways, but there's clearly things that we can do better. So, for example, when the stock market, due to a macroeconomic event, drops very quickly, market-wide, all markets stop trading. But that's not happening on a stock-by-stock basis. More importantly, stocks, options, futures are all traded now on a much more interdependent basis than ever before. So when activity in the futures or others markets can have a what seems like a step-by-step and orderly, but really a disorderly effect on the stock market, there really isn't coordination there. And so I was very encouraged to hear Steve Leisman report that the SEC and CFTC are taking a coordinated approach to reviewing what happened yesterday.
Had it not occurred to you, any of you in advance, that this might happen?
I think it has, and I think there are many things in the works to improve the coordination among markets, the responsibilities of brokers, and the tools that regulators have. For example, the sponsored access regulations, so brokers have clearer standards about what large and potentially erroneous trades get stopped before they happen. The large trader reporting, where, if done right, will give regulators across the entire segment of financial instruments greater activity in what's happening on an account-by-account basis among firms affecting large trades. So much of the work to make the system better is already in the pipeline, but we clearly need to do better and do it faster to make markets better for investors.
Should regulators require companies like yours to honor and go along with the New York Stock Exchange when it slows trading as it did yesterday?
Well, I think what the New York Stock Exchange is on the right path. Remember, they didn't stop trading yesterday. They stopped trading in one of their markets, the floor, where you sit. But the Archipelago, they were trading the whole entire time. It shows you that you can't have one market say, we're going to take our ball and go home for a couple of minutes. It has to be a common set of standards that everyone understands, that when things appear like they are cascading out of control for no real reason, everybody stops, takes a pause, and proceeds on an orderly basis thereafter. We'd be supportive of that.
A lot of this is being done by computer, and it's easy for those of us who don't really like technology to blame the computers. But can't the computers be programmed to discriminate? Granted, in a crude way, but I mean, you know, we were getting trades executed at ridiculous distances from the previous trade. I mean, can't they be programmed to pause if they see a trade that's going to happen 10% away from the previous trade?
They can. I think technology was clearly part of the problem yesterday, but I am certain it is also part of the solution. And so if you approach this on a coordinated market-wide basis and you focus on it, which we clearly need to do after yesterday, the solution is a lot closer than people would think.
There's a big debate in financial services at the moment about how useful some of the things that we do are. You started this conversation by saying you'd made the world better because people could trade for 1 second or less over their iPhone. How socially useful is that?
I think it's useful to give customers as many choices as possible if it's within a framework that's fair, that's constructive, and that it's controlled. So obviously, technology has transformed every aspect of American life, most of it for good, but it also introduces new risks and new potential to affect harm. So as long as we're putting the tools in the hands of the regulators to detect, deter, punish bad conduct, put a framework around how trading takes place electronically to make sure that it doesn't spiral out of control needlessly, then the net result is positive for investors. Going back to chalkboards and pieces of paper, we had our own set of problems back then, as you well remember.
All right, Mr. O'Brien, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
William O'Brien, CEO, DirectEdge, and he and I have both made the world better, Simon, and I'll tell you how. We don't practice law.